Hey guys, welcome to this video. This video I am dedicating to one of the finest Databricks feature, Databricks Genie. The Databricks Genie is a conversational AI. In this entire video, we'll try to understand what is the conversational AI, what has been the history of conversational AI, how Genie as a product is fulfilling all the definitions of conversational AI, and why the time for the companies is right now to adopt to the conversational AI like Genie. What we will cover in this is there are specifically four topics that we are going to cover. First is what is conversational AI. Second is what is Genie, going specific or directly attacking the product. Genie optimization and configuration. What are the levers, how we can optimize and manage the Genie, and how the era of conversational AI has just arrived. What is conversational AI? The technology that lets people interact with software using natural language every day instead of menus, forms, or codes, is what conversational AI is about. There are even some of the thoughts that uh, conversational AI in next few years might take over some of the BI features of some of the BI products, rather like MicroStrategy, Power BI. Such kind of product could be subsided completely by usage of the conversational AI. One of the finest example of conversational AI, the kind of question that we can ask is how many loans are overdue in the West region. So it answers you that okay, there are 214 overdue loans totaling up to 3.2 million dollar outstanding. Break that down by branch. So a consecutive question has been asked. Here is the breakdown by branch. So just by doing a natural language conversation, you can talk to your data. What internally it is doing is it is trying to understand the intent. It is maintaining the context. When you said break it down by the branch, it didn't ask you what. So it understood automatically that okay, we have to break the loans by branch and show. Okay, so that is how it maintains the context, and it tries and respond in a real time. Under the hood, how it works. So a text or a voice input is given. The first thing that happens is natural language understanding. It parses the intent. It just doesn't parse the data, it parses the intent of the data. Then under the hood, it try to reason or retrieve the data within that context. And finally, it generates some output for you. It composes some natural language response, and that natural language response is delivered as an output in the form of either text, where you can see ChatGPT like stuff where you just deliver it in the form of text, voice, maybe a chart, maybe a dashboard. So that thing is possible. So modern system like Genie is kind of replacing the classic natural language rule plus rule pipeline with large language model that handles understanding, reasoning, and generation together. And the most important, it is grounded on your data. An organization may have general intelligence, but we want to go for a specific intelligence. From scripted bots to language models, rule based bots. So earlier in around 1990 to 2010, there used to be rule based bots. Okay, kind of a decision tree. So, but there is a limit to that decision tree. You can always scale up to a certain point. And then there were natural language interpreting bots. So, but there is a chance that such bots could definitely not able to. Such bots used to work on classification or classifying the intent and extracting the entities, but such bots doesn't take the intent, so that intent might be missing. But in case of LLM, since the foundation models have are becoming more and more mature, the foundation models understand open-ended language, reason, and generate novel responses grounded within the real data. What is Genie? Coming back to what is Genie. So Genie is a Databricks AI/BI experience that lets anyone ask from the business to ask questions in a plain English and natural language and get a grounded answers directly. What are the important features? So no SQL is required. Generally, to talk to data, you need to have a good understanding of SQL. But business users may not have that kind of understanding of SQL, and in that case, they can simply ask the question in a natural language, and with intent capturing, we can very easily answer. Most important thing, it is grounded on your data. It's not a general intelligence, but it's grounded or completely within the context of your enterprise data or your enterprise context that you want to build out. It answers from the governed Unity catalog tables or that limited context. It's conversational. You can ask the follow-up question, it would maintain the context. And the response which is generated by the Genie is always going to be a nice visualization response in the form of charts, tables, and all. How Genie works. Genie Space wraps a curated set of tables, metadata, examples, rules that translates question into governed SQL. So a natural language question is asked. Genie LLM plus Genie Space context is going to understand the intent. Once the intent is understood, it is converted to a SQL. SQL will run, try to fetch the data, and the answer is then uh, materialized and shown back to the user. Let us try to see one or two questions that Genie might ask. Which branch has the highest loan delinquency rate this quarter? A loan delinquency is a new term, right? Loan delinquency rate. So a general intelligence LLM may know the delinquency rate, but that delinquency rate calculation can be different in different contexts. Or even within the organization also, one organization may call delinquency rate something, and another may view it in the form of some other formula. Maybe some views that rate as a percentage, and some may view it as like a fraction or a number. So these kind of contextual things are something which you can specifically code the Genie with, or rather give the context to the Genie that okay, whenever a person asks for a delinquency rate, match delinquency rate to a certified semantic loan performance metric view. Take that user to this metric view. Join the branch names. Whenever you have to join the branch name, you always join it with the dimension table. Apply the current quarter filter on the conversation context. So if somebody asks you current quarter, you should be able to, the conversational interface should be able to derive it with the current date or month, and then render a follow bar chart without being asked for a sequel. So these are the things that Genie internally does. So when somebody asks like which branches had a highest loan delinquency rate this quarter, so downtown and riverside branches lead the 8.2 to 7.6% delinquency rate respectively. Show the chart, a chart will be visible. So that's how Genie works, well grounded on your data. The Genie spaces, so how you can configure these Genie spaces, right? So you must be able to give certain levers, you must be given certain levers so that you can contextualize this conversation, or uh, direct this conversation. So some of the levers, there are four major levers you can see. The first is tables and views. The kind of tables that you create, for example, you don't expose the bronze or silver layer, even the gold also you should not expose. You should create one semantic view, and that layer is then exposed slowly to the Genie spaces. So the kind of tables that you give, so if you give a clear cut names to your columns, if you attach the comments, if you uh, attach more information on your column, more information to your table description, it will be much easier for Genie to find that out. Second is the metadata and instruction. So Genie has a specific text of a thing where you can give specific instructions to the Genie. Okay, what are the description? What is the business context? When user asks for delinquency rate, always take this formula. So like these things are, or always go to this metric view. So all these instructions can be specifically given to the Genie in the form of English language. Then comes the sample Q&A that you ask, right? So Q&A helps Genie to know that okay, whenever a person asks for delinquency rate, you should always divide A by B. We give a sample query. Sample query helps Genie to understand the joins and a lot of other things so that it can calculate it more accurately. And then comes the Unity Catalog permission, which helps you to bring the governance into the piece so that your tables may contain the PI information, but then it follows all the governance rule that are needed for a catalog. So these are like four different levers by which you can curate the response of Genie. First is table or views, the metadata and instructions, some of the sample queries, and finally Unity Catalog permissions. Some of the key capabilities which you have been listening, let's try to list it down, is a follow-up question. So within context, you can ask the follow-up question, auto visualization, giving response, and then answering the feedback. We can give the feedback whether you have given a correct answer or not. There is always an explainability to it. So if you ask a question, okay, delinquent rate for this particular area, then it will give you the answer. But if you actually want to see from where it has come, so it has an explainability, it will also generate the SQL and showcase to you. Okay, then there are shared spaces. Whole team query the same governed space. And finally, there is a governance module under the hood, which of course it is provided by the Unity Catalog. Genie inherits your governance. So tables, columns, grants, row level, since it's all fully integrated into Unity Catalog, So it never bypasses the Unity Catalog. It's completely integrated. So table and column grants, row level security, whether it's column masking or you set up any kind of masking on your tables, whether it's audit log, everything is completely governed with Genie. Getting Genie to answer. Getting Genie to answer, simple. You have table and column curation. You can put the information, you can put the right instructions, sample query, and then finally you will be able to get a specific intelligence out of the Genie and not the general intelligence. One of the important things which I wanted to showcase is, let's say you have a table called gold fact loans. Giving a comment on the table helps Genie to understand what that particular column, or for that matter, that particular table is. So, for example, there are outstanding balance column. Your comment like remaining principal plus accrued interest in US dollar will give Genie a more specific information about this column. And your job is to make sure that Genie is given right instructions. Genie is being helped with the instructions and informations and comments, so that helps you to get the more accurate response. Sample queries example, as I mentioned, you can give like whenever a user asks for what's our NPA ratio by branch, you give an NPA ratio formula. Okay, case when status is equal to NPA, so you must use status column, then 1 or 0, else the NPA ratio is then count star as an NPA ratio. So sum of all the rows where there is a where there is a status is equal to NPA divided by the total count gives you an NPA ratio. So that's how it works. So sample queries also are very helpful for Genie. And finally, you can also share the trusted assets. You can always point Genie writes ad hoc SQL, so you always give the benchmarking, and then with point Genie at a certified semantic view. Okay, always go within the instruction. We say that okay, Genie should always go to this semantic view. If somebody asks you for the loan performance, go for a loan performance semantic view. So that way, your numbers are not always changing, and then you can trust your numbers. So that's how beautifully this can be done. Okay, so metric views or semantic views helps Genie to be more accurate. How it can be optimized? So start small, we would say, start narrow, launch one well modeled domain before expanding scope, and then start adding the business definition, business synonyms to it, so that your Genie is more personalized on your data, more understanding your context and all. Benchmark with fixed question set. Of course, benchmarking helps. We define the relationship, that also helps. Review the feedback loop, of course, and then keep instructions short and spread. And it's an iterative process, it doesn't happen on a one go. So you build a small thing and then you keep on iterating one after the other. Accuracy of answers, how to measure, right? So answer accuracy, user feedback rate. If user is continuously giving feedback, then that's not a good thing, right? And as I said, it's an iteration loop, so you have to build small and iterate, right? Then query latency, to query latency should be as small as possible so that user get a good experience and then follow success. So that's how it works. Why Genie now? Because from 2017, the most important change that has happened is there is a transformer model which is available, which is a breakthrough that made natural language scale efficiently. So we have an internet scale of data, enough text or train model with broad and general language understanding. We have a GPU compute capacity available at scale, and we also have a human feedback techniques that made models more useful, safe, and conversational. So you can directly converse with the natural language. Otherwise, the cycle of creation of dashboard would have been like 4 to 8 weeks. Business user will come and tell the requirement will go to the team will come back with something, then there will be iterative cycle, then there will be QA, then there will be final implementation. And with the limited intelligence, again, whatever you design will be available to you. But definitely that's not the case today, right? Like in the fast moving world, we need information on our data as soon as possible. So Genie, the product like Genie, make this possible, again based on your data itself. A remarkably impressed timeline. Chatbots are not like coming for the first time. They started from 1966, and then continued with Siri, GPT. GPT-3 was behaving like a child, and then came the Chat GPT, and finally, as I said, Chat GPT is a general intelligence. Most of the time, people keep asking me why we are having another sort of a conversational AI product. Each one is bringing why. So the only reason is foundational model are the general intelligence. Whenever we are hiring in your company, a simple example is, you don't hire, if you, let's say if you are a retail customer, if you are a retailer, right, then you don't hire a generally intelligent person. You hire a person, an intelligent person who is also very much contextualize or understand retail domain. So that's how one in Databricks he also mentioned, right, in many times he mentions that overall the Databricks idea is to move from general intelligence to the intelligence on your data, understanding your data, making it more specific to your business, contextually to your enterprise. Okay, so that's how it works, from open chat to grounded answers. So instead of just having a general chats, how are you and how are you doing, how is your health, we move specifically to what is the delinquishment rate, what, how is my loan performing, and all those things. So this is a Genie is a grounded AI BI product from Databricks. You must try. In the next video I'm going to give you an actual demo of this Genie, how to create, and most importantly on a free platform and not on the, not on any of the paid edition. Databricks is providing free edition. You can just log in with your Gmail, go there, create your Genie workspaces, play with it. It's an amazing tool and it's fully available. You can configure Genie, test it out, and create your own things. Okay, so finally, on a governed lakehouse, creating a governed lakehouse, we get a curated Genie and get a capability to build everything in a natural language with LLM reasoning and get the trusted answer. So ask your data anything is the theme. In the next video, what we are going to do is we are going to bring in Databricks free edition and how to build the Genie out of it. Okay, so from understanding conversational AI to configuration Genie for a real business trust, the interface to data just changed for good. Are you ready for it? Thank you guys. Thanks for listening. Let us meet again in the next video. Thank you.